Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're doing well, because I'm not doing well. I'm absolutely outraged that Erik ten Hag has been snubbed for obviously he's been snubbed for Player of the Year. He's been snubbed by the Premier League on their shortlist for Premier League Manager of the Year. What's he been doing all season? Playing bloody golf. Absolute joke, absolute disgrace. I will argue this with anybody. I don't care who you are. Bring it on down. The shortlist includes Arteta, De Zerbi, Emery, Pep, Eddie Howe and Marco Silva. It's absolutely ridiculous. Not including Erik ten Hag in the final 6 shortlist for Manager of the Year in the Premier League. And I'm talking Premier League here, is an absolute joke. It's like ordering a Big Mac and not getting a burger. In fact, you get 2. But even if you got 1, I'd notice it. It's like having a pool party and not having a bloody swimming pool. In fact, better than that, it's like organising an orgy and not inviting anyone around. It's bloody ridiculous. I can't believe it. You know what? I'm sat there having a coffee this morning. It comes out, minding my own business, nobbling on a Kit Kat, and I nearly choked on it. I just can't get my head around it. I've spent the last 2 hours trying to figure it out, and people have said, you do know it's just for Premier League form, it's not to do with the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. Oh, is it? I didn't realise that the Premier League Manager of the Year award was for the Premier League and nothing to do with the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. I mean, swivel on it, but actually you can't ignore it. You can't ignore the fact that Pep's going to win a treble. You know, realistically, if we're talking about Premier League Manager of the Year, should Pep be even in there? Forget he's going for the treble, because it's only about the Premier League. I mean, he's won it for the last 2 years. He's just spent £100 million on Erling Haaland. Is it a surprise that the guy's going to win the league? I mean, I think he should be there, but if we look, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. What's Emery doing in there? He's only managed Villa for half a bloody season. Marco Silva's done a great job, but they're mid-table. I know they're newly promoted, and I've given Fulham a load of credit, and I've given Villa a load of credit. But if we want to get real, we're talking about competition here. He inherits the worst ever Manchester United Premier League side. This is a Premier League manager shortlist. He inherits the worst ever Manchester United Premier League side and takes it to joint 3rd in his first season. On top of that, he gets given Wout Weghorst in January for 3 months as his starting striker and still keeps us in the top 4. He has won more games than Eddie Howe. We've won 20 games and Eddie Howe's won 18. We've both got 66 points. If Eddie Howe loses to Brighton tonight and we beat Bournemouth on Saturday, we're above Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe's done a great... I don't want to make this about Eddie Howe, Marco Silva, De Zerbi. Look, I do that's football. They've all had a very good season. Some of them have had great seasons. But Erik ten Hag should not... You're telling me Erik ten Hag's not in the top 6 Premier League managers this year? You're having a bloody laugh. I'm off. See you later. Bloody rubbish. Absolute joke. Have that again. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I'm looking at the Premier League manager of the season shortlist. 6, Pep, Arteta, Howe. Oh, we'll skip ten Hag. We'll go down to Emery, Silva and De Zerbi. He's won more games than all of those people, Erik ten Hag. I feel like we're stuck back in the 90s when Man United were good. Wow, winning 20 games with Manchester United, it's not that deep. Don't deep it. Of course it's bloody deep. Last season we only got bloody 59 points. He's already got 66 and he's still got 3 games to go. We've won more games than anybody else on that shortlist apart from Arteta and Pep. He's also only conceded 8 goals at home all season. Nobody else has done that. We've got a goalkeeper with more clean sheets than anybody else. I find it bloody ridiculous. I feel like we're back. I feel like I'm getting our pressure. Oh, give me my inhaler. I feel like I'm in an alternative universe here. I just don't get it. I can't get it. And on top of that, look, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup don't matter. They don't matter. It's funny how it will matter if Pep wins a treble. I guarantee Pep shouldn't even win Manager of the Year. Arteta probably should. Maybe even Eddie Howe should. Maybe even Ten Hag should. You know, when you're looking at the Manager of the Year, you can't just give it to the person who finishes first. There's got to be context there. Why is Gary O'Neill not there, keeping up Bournemouth? There's no they're going to give it to Pep, and the reason they're going to give it to Pep is because he'll win the treble. So you've also got to, of course, as well. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I don't know what I'm justifying here. Of course, you've got to take into account cups, because Eddie Howe's not played in Europe. Newcastle haven't played in Europe. We've had to. I know it's about Premier League, but you're a bloody idiot, right? You're an absolute idiot. If I run a business, right, and I've got two people who've worked the same, but one of them lives next door to the office and the other one bikes, swims and runs to work every day, I'm going to give the guy that bikes, swims and runs, could be a girl, to work every day a little bit more credit than the guy or girl who lives next door to the office. They probably do the same job, but the amount of effort this person puts in just to get to work has to come into account. So these people who say it's based on Premier League form, I think it matters what you're doing around your Premier League form. Obviously, we've been playing every bloody 3.5 days all season. It's a joke, mate. It's an absolute joke. It's a farce. And everybody who hates Man United, up yours. I mean, this is a joke. It's an absolute farce. It's took us to 2 domestic cup finals. We've played a game every 3.5 days since bloody Christmas. And he's not in the top 6 Premier League managers shortlist, despite being joint third and taking us from the worst Premier League Man United side ever. What an absolute farce. I tell you what, I don't know what, there's a word for this, incompetence. It's complete and utter incompetence. Who would I take out? Emery. I think Emery's done really well, but, you know, Emery's had no cups to play in. He's had no Europe. I'd put him in ahead of Silva, of course. Silva's done a very good job at keeping them up, but they're a bit of a one-man team. When they haven't got Mitrovic, they don't play as well. Ten Hag should be in. I'd put Ten Hag ahead of Eddie Howe as well. Eddie Howe's done a great job, but no Europe for Eddie Howe. They have spent money, you know. But look, I don't want to make it about Eddie Howe. I think he's done a great job. I don't want to make it about Emery. He's done a great job, or Marco Silva has done a great job. Eric Ten Hag absolutely should be in there. The fact he's had a tied squad because of all competitions should add to it as well, Levi. Exactly. I've said it before, Eric Ten Hag would get overlooked because he manages Man United. If he had done this with another club, he would be favoured to win. I mean, does anybody actually... He's not manager of the year. I didn't say he was manager of the year, you bloody idiot. Clean your ears out and, you know, go and find a channel that's a bit for thick people. We're at a higher level here. You probably don't even support Manchester United. I didn't say he should be manager of the year. I'm saying it's a disgrace that he's not been recognised as in the top 6. Basically, what we're doing here, everybody, is we have to acknowledge that in the eyes of the Premier League, Eric Ten Hag is the 7th at best manager in the league this season. I'm outraged. That's a bloody joke. There's no way he's not in the top 6. Absolutely no way he's not in the top 6. It's unbelievable. At what point do you start measuring, you know, the circumstances of the season? Now, you know what people will go? They'll go 7-0. They'll go Newcastle beat you. Man City beat you. Arsenal beat you. I know. Adversity, responding to adversity, the challenges, the Ronaldo. I don't think anybody's had a season as hard as Ten Hag, apart from probably Gary O'Neill. I find it disgraceful. Can somebody tell me? Can somebody tell me who picks this shortlist as well? What prats pick it? Is it players? Is it fellow managers? Is it the Premier League board? Who picks it? Who picks it? Where would you put him, Mark? I'd put him in the top 4. Yeah, I'd definitely put him in the top 4. So not being in the top 6 is a joke. Probably Gary Neville. Well, it's always Gary. Lots of people are saying it's picked by Gary Neville. But for those managers in Eric Ten Hag's shoes, they wouldn't cope. 100%. Look, the reality is these awards mean nothing. It's why things like our community exist, because in the real world, there's little backhanders and mates rates crap going on, and Ten Hag is a victim of that, as much as we as fans are victim of that sometimes. You know, I work in and around this industry. You wouldn't believe what really goes on and then gets presented to you as fan content. It's bollocks. It's all coming down from the mainstream, Sky, BT and everybody else, and you think it's bloody fan content. But the reality is, probably Graham Souness says Slow Sports News, Eric Ten Hag, for some reason, is not fancied by the media. They don't seem to respect what he's done. I think he's done an incredible job. an absolutely incredible job. And I don't sense that it's felt like that from media. I don't get it. I'm over the moon with what Erik ten Hag's done this season. If you'd said to me, top 4 and 2 cup finals, I'd have gone, you're having a laugh. Is he having a laugh? Or she? So I'd have gone, you're having a laugh. I think he's done a great job. I think there's been a few downers this season. I think, signing people like Weghorst, Ronaldo leaving, some of the bad drubbings we've taken, but it's not like that's a shock. It's not like that wasn't happening on the regular with Solskjaer. So I think he's done a great job. And I actually think some of the bad things that have happened have actually made his season even more impressive. The ability to, I think from December the 27th, we played a game every 3.5 days to the March international break. You play Liverpool, they beat you 7-0, and you're playing again in 3 or 4 days. It's been relentless. I think the mental strength that Manchester and I think it's sad. Slow Sports says probably Graham Souness. I think it's actually sad he's not been recognised by his peers, whoever they are that have kept him out, because there's been absolutely no consideration taken into account of where Man United were a year ago, which was without doubt the most disgraceful team we've ever seen in the Premier League. In relation to attitude and performance and points accumulation, it was disgusting. To take that set of players, add 5 new players, one of which is a developmental player in Malacia anyway. So effectively 4 players to that squad from last year, take it to top 4 and 2 cup finals with a ridiculous amount of games, squashed in together. To have no appreciation of that. You're not even in the top 6. If I was Ten Hag, I'd be out in my garden kicking some plants. I would. And don't complain. I know people say that plants have feelings, but at the end of the day, he's got to kick something. All right, kicks a bench. It used to be a tree. I'd be kicking something, and I'd be kicking it hard. I'd be like, you know what a bloody joke. How have I been ignored for that? For bloody Emery and Marco Silva, you having a laugh? Just send them an Amazon voucher and say you did quite well. They don't need to be in the top 6 Premier League managers ahead of Erik ten Hag. Can't believe it's been 178 days since the Glazers' first statement, 183 since Ronaldo called them out. I can't believe they still haven't chosen, says Parza. Yeah, I definitely don't want to talk about the sale. This is specifically about the treatment of Erik ten Hag. It was Poch. He would have been lauded, says Glenny Boy. Well, you know what? I can't say it's British bias, because ultimately most of those coaches aren't going to be British. In fact, I don't think any of them are they? Because we don't produce good coaches in this country. But England, we don't. Eddie Howe's there, of course. But well done to Eddie Howe. You got the vote. But why has Erik ten Hag been ignored? I just think generally he's not appreciated. I think he gets lip service from the press and the media and the pundits. A year ago, it was only the fans that wanted Ten Hag. And I wonder if that's resonated a little bit. I do. The fans wanted Ten Hag. He's the fans' pick. And that will always be remembered because people are bitter. There was no ex-player, there was no media outlet in this country a year ago championing Ten Hag. It was all Poch and a couple of other people. So, look, maybe that resonates, I don't know. But ultimately, it's what we think that matters, the fans. And these people who give out these awards, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Look, there's been other fan channels giving awards over the United Stand. We're massive compared to them. We're definitely the best. I think you're the best community. It doesn't keep me up at night. I just go in the garden and kick a plant. But no, realistically, it doesn't, because it's not. Awards don't actually mean anything. I was watching the bloody BAFTAs the other night and I thought, somebody won an award and I thought, you're not the best actress. You're not. She is. But somebody's decided it. Some select group who live up their own arse have decided it. Awards can do one. The reality is, the reason I've done this video is because I think it's important to call it out and say, they can snub Erik ten Hag as much as they bloody well like. He's done a very, very good job this season, and he's our choice, and he's delivered on what we wanted in year 1. And that's why you do need to be vocal about the Glazers and what's happening at the club, because if we want him to deliver in year 2, he needs to be backed. Because what you can definitely get a sense of is if Ten Hag did have a bad time next year, those knives are hidden and sharpened. You know it. You know they're ready to go for him. They never wanted him in the first place. And these sort of things just back it up. I'm bewildered and confused and astonished that he's not in the top 6 Premier League shortlist managers. But I'm not surprised, really. And that's why we as a fan base need to support and back him, because he's the manager that we wanted. And he's done a good job. And the rest of it, and how good he does in the future, will really depend on how much support he gets in the future, won't it? Pacey, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. How can Erik ten Hag not be nominated when he has 2 Manager of the Months as well, says Oscar. I don't know how many exactly. Look, everyone hates United. They always have, says Christopher. All I'm going to say is this: every other fan is going to laugh at it. O'Neill not getting in is even worse, says Robert. Look, I'm not a Bournemouth fan. We're not the Bournemouth stand, but you know, I agree, Robert. Ollie started this bottle attitude 6-1 to Spurs, says Harry. And Erik ten Hag, if you can see this, the Premier League may not appreciate, but we do. Thank you, says Slow Sports News. Yeah, look, it's a disgrace he's not been picked. Every other fan of every other club is going to laugh at it and say he shouldn't have been picked. As long as we know as United fans it's a disgrace and we call it out, I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. And I wanted to have my say. There we go. Tonight, Brighton are playing Newcastle at 7:30, not 8 o'clock. So I'm going to have to push the United stand a little bit early. Probably about 10 to 7 we'll start, 6:45, something like that instead of 7. It's the Bournemouth preview. And there's some amazing announcements I've got to give you there in relation to one of you lot. Unbelievable. I still can't believe it. I'll see you a little bit later on. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate those who've watched it live. Get your comments in below if you didn't. Let us know what you think. And I'll speak to you in a little bit. But thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in.